Welcome to Heart Talks, the channel that brings you valuable information on caring for your newborn baby. Today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest challenges that new parents face: sleep training. A well-rested baby means a well-rested you, and in this video, we're going to share with you 10 sleep training techniques that will help your baby sleep through the night. First tips: establish a routine. Establishing a consistent bedtime routine is crucial for helping your baby sleep through the night. Babies feel more secure and relaxed when they know what to expect, so creating a predictable routine can help them prepare for sleep. Consider incorporating a warm bath, a feeding, and some quiet time into your baby's bedtime routine. You can also try to make the environment more conducive to sleep by dimming the lights, playing soothing music, or using a white noise machine. By establishing a consistent bedtime routine, you can help your baby feel more comfortable and relaxed, making it easier for them to fall asleep and stay asleep throughout the night. Second tips: follow a feeding schedule. Following a feeding schedule is an essential aspect of sleep training for babies. By establishing a feeding schedule, you can help your baby develop a routine that will eventually help them sleep better at night. It is recommended that you feed your baby every 2 to 3 hours during the day, which can also help regulate their sleep patterns. It is also important to gradually increase the time between feedings at night to encourage longer periods of sleep. This means that if your baby usually wakes up every 2 hours for a feeding, try to stretch that time to 3 hours. Eventually, your baby will be able to sleep for longer periods without waking up for a feeding. However, it's important to note that every baby is different, and some may require more frequent feedings. If your baby is still waking up frequently at night, it may be a sign that they are not getting enough to eat during the day. In that case, you may need to adjust their feeding schedule or consider talking to your pediatrician for further guidance. Third tips: create a sleep-conducive environment. To create a sleep-conducive environment for your baby, you should also make sure that the temperature of the room is comfortable. A room that is too hot or too cold can disrupt your baby's sleep. Aim for a temperature between 68 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. In addition to the temperature, it's important to consider the type of crib or bassinet your baby sleeps in. Make sure the mattress is firm and fits snugly in the crib or bassinet. Avoid using any soft bedding or stuffed animals in the crib, as these can pose a suffocation risk. Another way to create a sleep-conducive environment is to establish a consistent bedtime routine. This routine should be soothing and relaxing, signaling to your baby that it's time to sleep. You can include activities such as reading a book, singing a lullaby, or giving a gentle massage. Whatever activities you choose, make sure they are consistent and done in the same order each night. Fourth tips: use a swaddle. Swaddling is a technique that involves wrapping your baby snugly in a blanket. It can help create a womb-like environment that helps your baby feel secure and comfortable. Swaddling can also prevent your baby from moving around too much and waking themselves up. When swaddling your baby, ensure that the blanket is snug but not too tight. You should be able to slip a hand between the blanket and your baby's chest to ensure they can breathe comfortably. Also, be sure to leave enough room for your baby to move their hips and legs freely. It's important to note that swaddling is not recommended once your baby starts to roll over, usually around 4 to 6 months of age. At this point, a loose-fitting sleep sack is a safer option to keep your baby warm and secure while they sleep. Fifth tips: practice the 5-minute rule. The fifth tip for sleep training your baby is to practice the 5-minute rule. It can be difficult to resist the urge to immediately soothe your crying baby, but sometimes giving them a few minutes to settle themselves can work wonders. If your baby wakes up crying in the middle of the night, wait for 5 minutes before you intervene. Often, babies can settle themselves back to sleep within this time. However, if your baby continues to cry after 5 minutes, go in and comfort them, but avoid picking them up if possible. Instead, try gentle shushing or patting until they fall asleep again. Over time, your baby will learn to self-soothe and sleep through the night. 6 tips. Use a pacifier. Pacifiers can be a helpful tool in promoting sleep for your baby. The sucking motion can be calming and can help your baby self-soothe. If your baby does not already use a pacifier, try offering it to them during the bedtime routine. Some babies may not be interested in using a pacifier, and that is okay. If your baby does use a pacifier, ensure that it is clean and free of any damage before giving it to them. Also, be aware that pacifiers can increase the risk of ear infections, so be sure to talk to your pediatrician if you have any concerns. 7th tips. Be consistent with naps. Ensuring that your baby gets enough daytime sleep is essential for helping them sleep well at night. Be consistent with nap times and try to put your baby down for naps in the same place every day. This will help them recognize that it's time to sleep and make it easier for them to fall asleep. It's also a good idea to establish a nap routine that signals to your baby that it's time to sleep, such as reading a story or singing a lullaby. Avoid letting your baby nap too close to bedtime, as this can make it harder for them to fall asleep at night. 8th tips. Encourage daytime activity. Babies need plenty of activity and stimulation during the day to help them sleep better at night. You can encourage daytime activity by playing with your baby, going for walks, and providing them with toys and activities that encourage movement and exploration. However, make sure to balance activity with rest, as overstimulation can make it harder for your baby to fall asleep. Aim for short play sessions followed by rest periods throughout the day. By keeping your baby active during the day, you can help them establish a healthy sleep routine. 9th tips. Gradually decrease nighttime feedings. To expand on tip 9, it is important to note that as babies grow, their stomachs also grow, and they can take in more milk during each feeding. This means that as they reach certain milestones, such as doubling their birth weight or reaching 4 to 6 months old, they may not need to feed as often during the night. However, it's important to do this gradually, as suddenly cutting out nighttime feedings can be hard for both you and your baby. A good way to start is by delaying the first nighttime feeding by 15 to 30 minutes every few nights until it's eliminated. Then gradually decrease the time of the second feeding and so on. This process can take several weeks, but it can help your baby adjust to sleeping through the night without needing to feed. It's important to remember that every baby is different, and some may need nighttime feedings for longer than others. Consult with your pediatrician before making any significant changes to your baby's feeding schedule. Finally, it's important to ensure that your baby is getting enough to eat during the day to compensate for the decreased nighttime feedings. This may mean offering more frequent feedings during the day or increasing the amount of milk offered during each feeding. 10th tips. Be patient and consistent. Sleep training is not a one-size-fits-all approach, and it can take some time to find the right method for your baby. Remember, consistency is key, so once you find a sleep training method that works for you and your baby, stick with it. Be patient and expect some setbacks along the way. By following these 10 tips, you can establish healthy sleep habits for your baby and help them sleep through the night. Remember to establish a routine, follow a feeding schedule, create a sleep-conducive environment, use a SWADDLE, practice the 5-minute rule, use a pacifier if needed, be consistent with naps, encourage daytime activity, gradually decrease nighttime feedings, be patient and consistent. Remember, a well-rested baby is a happy baby, and by implementing these tips, you can help your baby get the rest they need to thrive. That's it for today's video on sleep training techniques for your baby. We hope you found these tips helpful. Remember, every baby is different, and what works for one may not work for another. Don't be afraid to experiment and find the best sleep training techniques that work for your baby. Thanks for watching Heart to Heart Talks, and we'll see you in the next video.